Your personal brand isn't just a logo, a tagline, or a clever marketing hook. It's who you are at your core. It's how you think, it's how you make decisions, and it's how you show up in the world, both personally and professionally. And building a brand isn't just about a strategy, it's about alignment. And that requires something much deeper: self-awareness, resilience, and the willingness to grow and evolve. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a guru, but I am a builder. I've built 2 very successful businesses, worked through failure, I faced my own demons, and I'm still in the process. I'm still refining, I'm still evolving. So each week on the Branding Lab, I'm going to break down the lessons, the insights, and raw truths that shape not just great businesses, but great leaders. In this roughly 10 to 15 minute monologue, I'm going to share the stories and the insights of my own experience and the deep conversations with CEOs, founders, and thought leaders from all over the world. We're going to uncover the patterns, the decisions, and the shifts that separate those who grow from those who stay stuck. Because here's the honest truth: if you're not evolving, neither is your brand. So let's get into it. You don't ever forget your first real coach that actually developed you outside of just playing sports with you and teaching the game. Mine was in high school. It was my first high school football coach, Rich Lane. Sorry, I said Rich Lane. And he was a mean, if I can say mean, but meanly relatable kind of guy. No bullshit, no frills. And I remember him saying to me my freshman year, and I started as a freshman just kicking first half of the year. And then through his development and my growth and really investing into the program, I eventually earned myself a starting position as a freshman in high school. And I remember him telling me, fall in love with getting better every single day. And for me, I really needed to hear that. And he went on to say, that's the game. That's all there is to it. That's the whole game. Fall in love with getting better every single day. And I always loved that. And at the time, I don't know if I fully got it, but years later, when I am now involved in coaching other business leaders, one of the things I encounter most often is this sort of instant gratification that entrepreneurs seem to need, and forgetting about sort of just focusing on the process and your development and your growth and the impact that you can make. And for me, coaching isn't just about running someone through a checklist, because I have actually hired coaches who have done that with me. It's sort of like going to the psychologist, and she's always like looking up at the clock, and it's like, as soon as it hits 60 minutes, she's like, oh, well, our session is done. And I'm like, I'm knee deep in a near suicide here, and you're cutting me off and telling me my time is up. Like, it just never seemed like they were invested in me, not to mention just way too clinical, which is why I really got into coaching, because coaching is about stewardship. It's about guidance. It's about holding somebody else's life in your hands and helping them navigate that. And that's a really big honor. Every entrepreneur, every athlete, every professional who walks into your space isn't just asking you for advice. And I take that parallel today to my high school women's lacrosse team that I coach, along with my daughter is a sophomore there. And one of the things that I'm really trying to help with them outside of lacrosse is the development of their development of their souls, like who they become, their work ethic, their habits, their discipline, their courage, their ability to face obstacles, their camaraderie, their collaboration. And for me, that's a huge responsibility. And I take that same responsibility in my strategic business work with other entrepreneurs and other small business owners, and really honoring their position and where they are, and then helping them develop that and step into the true power of their innate ability. And sometimes that involves holding hands. Sometimes that involves walking them slowly. Sometimes that involves really cutting the cord and encouraging them to expand. And that's just really, it's a not a one size fits all situation. And I think I learned that early on as a father. I have 2 daughters that are, let me put this in perspective, becoming a dad and now coaching high school sports, they're they're sort of like, forget everything you know about anything and throw out the rule book and just start meeting them where they are. And each of them are completely different. And parenting for me is not about nurturing, it's about preparing my children. I want them to be able to be on their own someday without reliance upon me. And that doesn't happen overnight, right? And so you really have to learn to handhold that and coddle that and release that. And again, the same thing goes with coaching entrepreneurs. We're all just kids, really, truthfully. We're older, more aged children, especially if we haven't taken the time to develop spiritually and emotionally and have just focused on external growth factors, whether it's just your business or how much you can accrue or how many physical things you own, that sort of stuff. The real growth starts inside that inner engineering. And so I think for me, the hardest part of coaching is that most people think coaching is just about motivation and encouragement, and that's definitely part of the recipe. But the real job of a coach is to hold up the mirror and let someone see themselves when they need it most. And to say the things that I think other people might sort of shy away, whether it's their best friends or their family. My job is not to be your friend. My job is to guide you, to educate you, to inspire you, to encourage you, to hold you accountable, to force you to expose yourself, the raw, true self, and expand and grow upon that. And I don't want you playing small to do that. I don't want you not having a strategy. I don't want you making excuses. I want you to grow every single day and become a better version of yourself, just like Coach Lane said, in every moment. And that's what life is all about. And that's the difference between coaches who get results and the ones who just sort of make people feel good or just show up for 60 minutes and then clock in, clock out. The best coaches do not protect their clients' egos, they protect their clients' vision. And same thing, I'm protecting my young high school athlete's vision of maybe becoming a college lacrosse player or the next doctor or whatever it is. And so coaching isn't just on the field. Coaching just isn't in the office. Coaching is a holistic perspective that takes everything into account, meets people where they are, and then helps them expand upon their already innate gifts that they possess, and then holding them accountable and encouraging them along the way. And so that's why I got into coaching. And I didn't even realize that I was a coach until I was like headlong into the process. It sort of happened by accident, and I fell in love with it because I'm able to sort of watch the growth. And at the same time, by the way, I'm learning every single moment, just as my coaching is helping other people learn, I'm learning from them. And in the process of learning from each of these individualized experiences, think about it. Everybody comes to the table with all these massive Rolodexes of information and history and experience and learned lessons and knowledge. And I'm interacting with those people and I'm like a sponge, man. So I'm also growing. And in the process of me growing, I'm helping them grow. So it's an interactive, collaborative situation. And I don't really know if my data is right, but studies show that almost 80% of people who have received some form of coaching in their life improve a massive amount of self-improvement, personal responsibility, accountability, self-confidence, and then just sort of overall performance. So again, if you don't have a coach, highly consider getting one because it's really necessary for you to continue growing in all aspects. Again, no matter how successful you are, and no matter how you measure success, there's always another opportunity for you to learn more, to engage with somebody more, to enhance your experience more. And one of the ways you can do that is by hiring outside help in the form of coaching to help you reach that next level, right? And here's what I know about coaching. If you find a good coach, coaching is not for the weak. It is somebody who is willing to stand on a threshold, bear their transparency, and able to help somebody else grow in the process. You have to be willing to listen, and sometimes it involves being their biggest advocate, and sometimes it involves being their biggest accountability partner. And you have to know when and where those lines merge and how to navigate them. You need to understand that everybody comes at this experience with a unique perspective, And it's our job to meet them where they are and to help them expand upon that. And you're not doing anyone a favor by just sitting in the corner and cheering them on 24/7. You have to be able to mix and match the types of coaching and the level of attention and responsibility you have in that process. For me, and I learned this about myself, I'm not when I hired my first coach, I wasn't looking for a yes man or a yes woman, and that's really what I got. And I was looking for somebody who will force me to play big or hold me accountable to play big. And I was looking for somebody that would challenge me and push me and demand more from me, even though I already demand a lot from myself, but be able to sort of bridge that gap between pushing and pulling and being mindful and all of those things. And so for me, um, that's really what I try to bring to the table now. All of the lessons I've learned from all of the people I've worked with and all of the coaches I've had, to all the amazing people I've surrounded myself, to my education. And I'm taking all of that and I'm using my intuition and my spirit and my mindfulness, and I'm crafting programs to help other people build their personal brand to deliver some sort of impact to the world. And that's really who I'm looking to work with, is people who have an idea or an inspiration or a book or a business or a product, and they want to consciously make humanity better. I'm not saying you shouldn't want to make money. That's what we're going to do, because making money gives us more resources so that we can make a bigger impact. It's really the perspective of what you want and why you want it that I love to work with conscious and purpose-driven leaders like yourself. So, um, if you're looking for somebody who's going to be candid with you and frank with you and honest with you and motivate you and drive you and grow with you and learn with you and expand with you and really really enforce the idea that you already have the power within you. You just haven't yet created it, because that's really what I think happens in the process is we create, and it's not an overnight thing. I think a lot of people sort of get caught up in this instantaneous success model. And man, this takes time, bro. I'm in my middle 40s and I still don't have shit figured out. I'm still trying to figure out how to become a better version of myself every single day. And sometimes that is some hard ass shit. And but I'm sticking with the process, and I'm following my leaders and my guides and the people that have instructed me, that are much smarter than me and much more talented than me, and I'm using that to sort of expand my own repertoire. So that's what I want to help other people do, because I have learned a lot in the process. I've got a lot of lessons, a lot of experiences, and a decent amount of wisdom, dare I say, that I can pass along. So if you're looking for somebody who can hold you accountable and help you grow and expand into the best version you've always envisioned yourself being, then let's talk, man. Let's drop me a DM, send me a message. Let's connect.